All right, we are back in our open agenda. Could someone please move receipt of the consent agenda?
So moved.
Moved by Director Damaris, seconded by Director Crompton. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. Is there any business arising from that?
The letter about passenger rail will come up as part of our late edition anyway, so no, that's okay.
Okay. Okay, moving on. We've got the committee reports and recommendations, 6.1, the SLRD's Committee of the Whole recommendations of June 26th. The board write a letter to BC Hydro advocating for more wholesome engagement with the regions and invasive species councils to minimize the spread of invasive species. Moved by Director Jones, seconded by Director Damaris. Comments? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. The Area Directors Committee recommendations of July 9th regarding a request for decision for the rezoning and OCP redesignation of 9223 Pemberton Portage Road, Birkin Schoolhouse, and that up to $9,498 from Area C amenity funds be allocated towards the costs relating to initiating a zoning and OCP amendment. Moved by Director Mack, seconded by Director Crompton. Question?
Yeah, just wondering a bit with other discussions, like, do we engage with the local First Nations on these sorts of changes at this point, or?
So I'm trying to remember because I have too many. I can ask Omar and Ally to come in. Ally's perfect. Great timing.
This is John for a question. 6.2.1.
The question is, with this OCP amendment and rezoning, are we required or do we choose to engage with the First Nations affected?
I think that will probably be a planning question, I believe. Can you know that?
We've shared the, we would be referring to First Nations.
Yeah. Okay, any other questions? Being none, all question, all in favor? Is there anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. And 6.3.1, these are recommendations from the PVIS committee meeting of July 10th. Our request for decision regarding the approval of revised Pemberton and District Initiative funding policy. And this was deletion of the following criteria: that applicants already receiving funding from the Village of Pemberton or SLRD through annual recurring funding programs or other funding contributions are generally not eligible to apply for PDIP funding. Would you like to move that, Director Mack? Seconded by Director Damaris. Comments? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. And that the revisions to the PDIP funding policy be approved. Moved by Director Mack, seconded by Director Pettengill. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. 7.1. Area B OCP bylaw number 1890 update.
Thanks, it's been over a year since the board graciously gave me permission to work on this OCP Area B for a minor update, and thank you very much to staff for accommodating my finagling attention to detail and changes around this in the back and forth. Appreciate the time. I'd like to move these 3-4 thoughts if I could.
We'll go for questions just briefly before we make a motion. Go ahead, Director Pettengill.
Yeah, I think last time I had made a comment about asking if land claimed by the Crown was more appropriate language than Crown land, and I see we're still using Crown land in the document, and I may be wrong about what the most best term is nowadays, but so I just wanted to check if that's something we looked into or considered, or
We do have Ms. McKay online. We also have Director Needham here. Who would like to answer that?
Through the chair, I have not received any direction to change the reference to Crown land. Or anything from the province about that.
We're ahead of the province on some of this stuff though, and I thought it was brought up at the last meeting. I thought it's worth looking at, I think.
But
I'd like to apologize because that was brought up at the last meeting and missed in the review. I think direction from this board is also important.
so can we incorporate it before second reading?
Is it appropriate for us to do it before the province has officially changed that?
You know.
Yep.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
We declared ourselves a regional district of reconciliation a very long time ago. And I think we've heard this a number of times from a variety of spaces and yeah, I think,
And
go ahead, Director Britt Jones.
just, I'm really grateful that the, staff has added Regional Invasive Species Society and the Agriculture and Food Society and the Natural Society in there, because those were some additions. Those are new groups since the 2008 version. And I also wanted to add 2 more referrals to this if I could. Should I do that now?
Go ahead.
I just want to clarify, there was a question, asking a clarifying question about updating the Crown land.
Yeah.
Language and what the process would be, and I'd like to ask Director Needham.
I think I'd need some language about what that terminology is meant to now be, and we could change that if it's agreed to by the board prior to its reading.
Go ahead, Jack.
It seems to me. It's a change we should make, but it's also something that we should have a discussion about, and I don't think. At this point in time, there's agreement that it's land claimed by the Crown or public lands or. Indigenous title lands or. It seems to me like there's a whole host of other ways we could call it, and making a change that is preemptive to me. Not because I wouldn't want to make it, but because I'd want to have a discussion at this table about it.
I think we'd also want to engage with the First Nations in Area B to ensure that the language reflects their desire for an accurate nomenclature rather than us deciding as board.
Yeah, thank you for that. I was thinking of along a similar line where if we are gonna make that change, we're sending it for referrals to come back. At which point we'll make the change where the parties we're referring to would be the ones that we would like to make this change, whatever it may be. So is there a way to ask that specific question as part of the referral? I
Yes.
guess is a way, and how do we direct that in part of the motion?
We can, through our referral letters, we can ask the groups that we're referring to if what terminology is acceptable to them.
Thank you. We also have an Indigenous Relations Advisor that has a lot of connections with those communities, and it could be asked at that table as well.
Okay. So,
Is that capitalized?
Lori, sorry, I'm gonna go to Director Hoffel first.
So, and mine was about, like I noticed on 2.3, it says First Peoples and often refers to First Nation communities. So I was wondering if it should not just be Statland, but I don't know. And the other thing I was gonna ask is, under 5.3, we still have a SLRD supports work towards regional greenhouse gases with a targeted reduction of 45% below 2010 levels by 2030. Are we still keeping that? Because I know that's what we say, but does that not, because we're redoing this and that's only 5 years away, I'm wondering if that is actually something that should not, we shouldn't just take out the date and say that, you know, we're striving towards reducing that, or are we sticking with the 2030?
Go ahead.
So thank you, through the chair. That language is directly pulled from the regional growth strategy. We will have another opportunity to make updates to the OCP document when we do the comprehensive review in 2027, 2028. So we could look at changing that at that point in time.
Okay.
And there could be, I mean, the point of doing these referrals is that we will get some feedback and comments about things like that. And I even just happen to have brought this historical book that's just been published, and I brought it for staff because there's some good stuff in there about like some of the internment counts, for example, and some of the other things that I'd mentioned as should probably be added. So I've got a nice source for some of that information, but I was gonna suggest some of that as part of, you know, the process between first and second reading.
Yeah,
I just want to reiterate that this is meant to be a minor update. And was put in advance of what was already planned, which was area or area C OCP, because there's been some very significant population changes there. And then area B was following suit to area C's. That was the original plan.
yes. However, through board direction, we moved this up, and that's why we're here. So we are in a minor amendment process right now with minor language changes so far. We're at first reading. I would suggest that we consider first reading and go through the referrals as laid out in the staff recommendation and expect that some of these changes would be included in the letter of referrals, as well as other language changes will come forward before second reading. And then any major amendments will come in 27 as was previously contemplated through the work plan. Is that satisfactory to everyone? Do you have a burning question, Director Rainbow?
So we're keeping the term Crown land at the moment?
It's part of the referral process.
Yes.
It's not up to, so we're not making any amendments today on language, other than the ones that have been previously contemplated prior to this day and time. Crown land is fairly, I'm losing my words.
Well, it's a current.
It's a controversial term that does not, it no longer reflects the intention of British Columbia, but finding an appropriate replacement requires meaningful dialogue, not only at the board level, but with the broader communities and the First Nations to which it refers. So.
If we make, yeah, I was just thinking if we make the change for this one document, does that mean then we direct the staff to go through everything we've got, every bylaw and so on, and make the amendments?
But we're not doing that now.
No, I'm just saying, that's a huge thing, and we seem to have jumped at it just like that, so I'm glad we're pulling back a little bit. I'm not opposed to the idea,
No.
but there's a lot involved.
But
Well, just language changes like I guess would evolve over time as bylaws are evergreen. I don't think we're dictating that we open by a decision here, if we did arrive at that today, we're not unleashing a wave of work. It's one more thing that would need to be evergreened as we go through and touch up these bylaws. I just want to that's my understanding. Is that, that's a shared understanding of it?
yes.
And optimistically, we're, based on, like, look at that feedback Jeanette got on the terms of reference for intergovernmental. It was fantastic. And if we get that kind of feedback from some of the Statlian, we will be told what their preference is. And that would be great. And we also had 2 more referrals to add to the list that I've got here when you're ready to hear that information.
Okay, so can we go through each part of the resolution separately then? So right now, we're just dealing with this bylaw, the OCP 1890-2025 be introduced and read a first time. Moved by Director Birch Jones, seconded by Director Stoner. Comments, all in favor, any opposed, motion carries. that the local government act, section 477 3AI be, considered with respect to the SLRD financial plans and deemed to be in keeping with those plans. Moved by Director Jones, seconded by Director Hopple. Comments? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. That the local government act, section 477 3A2, bylaw number 1890, be considered with respect to the SLRD solid waste and resource management plan and deemed to be in keeping with that plan. Moved by Director Burge Jones, seconded by Director Pettengill. Do you have a question?
For the next one.
Okay. Yeah, we're getting there. Call the question, all in favor, any opposed, motion carries. Next one is where the referrals come in and, do you have a question?
Yes.
Go ahead.
So I wasn't clear, does staff need special direction to specifically ask about that term, or that's just understood and we don't need that?
I think we need to be specific and prescriptive because I would like them to ask all kinds of things that staff know way more about than we can possibly unpack today. Go ahead, Director Burge Jones with additional referrals.
Also to add, for referrals, the Lillooet Agriculture Library Association. The board agreed to have a good look at it. And also my neighbor, area I Director Tricia Thorpe with TNRD. Also would like the opportunity to provide some comments, and we share quite a lot of border and issues, like we have common park and fire issues, so on.
Go ahead.
I just clarity from Director Needham, would we be going to the TNRD board for comment?
Just the one director.
Well, it would be referred to their board for comment because that one director can't really,
Yeah, would have to go to the whole TNRD for comment.
and that's not typical in an OCP minor amendment. It would be in a regional growth strategy amendment, or it would be in a,
It would usually be for a full OC.
Like a major amendment.
Be a major amendment.
yeah. So it would be a special circumstance that we would ask that the TNRD be included in the referrals. Are you comfortable with that? We may or may not get a response from them based on their own work plan,
Yeah.
but we can ask. Is that right?
Yeah, I'll just state that when we refer to a local government or to anyone, it does take up a lot of staff time to review the document. It can take hours and hours of staff time to, and board time and council time to consider it. And so I think we should bear that in mind.
Of their time,
Yeah.
yeah. Like if we got referred every time
They make a change.
Metro did an update, as we do. Sometimes we provide feedback and most of the time we don't. Or I can't say most of the time, I don't know, but if it's referred to us, we can only do what we can do, as they would be the same.
So I'm going to go into close for a moment for
Sure.
intergovernmental relations.
Could I ask that someone please move that we
So moved.
close the meeting? Director Herford, seconded by Director Burge Jones. All in favor?